I teach people how to build wealth in crypto, right? Because you have a new class of assets, right? That's very infrastructural. So we got a very unique opportunity here, right? Where we can invest in a house, right? We can invest in some art or land, right? But how often can we invest, not trade, but how often can we invest and truly be a part of a new global infrastructure?
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast, where you find dope people that did really, really dope stuff. And today is no different because we have a topic that I am super interested in. And I've been making money. I just don't know how. It's really been off of one of my friends say, hey, buy this. I'm like, all right. And then it goes up. I'm like, dang, that's dope. But I want to learn it.
Right.
Because every time I see a Dogecoin post, it pisses me off. Because it was like, I think it was at like 30 cents. And I'm like, oh man, I missed the wave. And then it went to like 35. I'm like, oh, I should have bought it at 30. Then it went to 40. And then I was like 50. And then it just keeps going up. And I always feel like it's too late. So what do you think about Dogecoin?
So
where we're at right now.
All right. So Dogecoin is really interesting, right? Because my prior conversation or ideas on Dogecoin was that it started off as a joke, right? It'll never.
Did it really?
Yeah. Dogecoin started off as a joke.
What is it though? What is a Dogecoin?
It's really just a form of digital currency. That's it. It's like another form of money. That's it. That's literally, it does nothing. It's just, that's what it is. That's why when you have people who've been in the crypto community for a while, we see so many people buying Doge and we're like, what? So it's crazy because it's originally, and like I said earlier, I don't hold any Doge in my portfolio, right? It's not something that I see long term. As a trader, I trade Doge because as a trader, you're just looking for things that are volatile. But the really interesting thing that's happening with Doge is that somehow it's managed to get a community, right? And then the underlying value of all cryptocurrencies rely on the community that it garners, whether it's the developer community, the capital community, different exchanges, whatever the case is. Now Dogecoin, we as a people have decided that we want to back Dogecoin.
Hold on. So the whole thing around cryptocurrency is the people say this is popping and now it's valuable.
Exactly. Because of the technology that it's built on top of. It's called blockchain, right? And to keep blockchain simple, what it does is it pretty much decentralizes things.
Okay, real quick. I don't know what decentralized means, but I need you to introduce yourself first because we're going to go into a long... I'm sorry, that was my fault. So how do you introduce yourself when people ask you?
I say I'm Fitz, and I invest in cryptocurrencies, digital assets.
Mm-hmm.
I invest and trade digital currencies and digital assets.
You've done well.
I've done well.
You've done really well. I saw you bought that car. I didn't know who you were. Mitch, he put you on the story. He's like, yo, he just bought it. What kind of car was that?
It's the Aventador SV, Lamborghini Aventador SV, 2017. The last year they made it.
2017 Lamborghini Aventador.
Aventador. Yes.
How much is that car, Fitz?
It's about $500,000.
A $500,000 car?
Yeah.
Why did you buy a $500,000 car? Just curiosity, because I can't see myself doing it. But I mean, you up, so.
So I mean, for one, it's fun, right? I remember, like, I grew up in Savannah, right? So I'm from the projects, and I remember being, with the rest of the kids in the neighborhood, looking on the side of the street, right? And we call it, bingo, and we looking at the rims and we looking at the nice cars and we fantasizing about these cars. As I got older and I started to see, different types of cars, I started to, want those cars. So a Lamborghini is something I've always wanted. And then as I, got to a point where I could get it, right? I'm like, hey, I can get one of the cars of my dreams and it's an asset because the Aventador SV isn't a normal a normal Lamborghini. It's one of 600, right? So it's one of those cars that appreciate and value as long as you keep it in good condition. So,
but all Lamborghinis aren't $500,000. You could have got a Lamborghini. I mean, just a regular.
It wouldn't have been an asset.
It wouldn't have been.
So if I got a Huracan, no offense to anybody got a Huracan, 9 times out of 10, the value on that will go down before it goes up. Well, not it depends on the environment, but the likelihood of my car increasing in value is very high. You know, because at the end of the day, it's limited. Lamborghini and all the other automobile makers are having to, abide by new emission laws, right? So they're having to mix their engine with hybrid engines, things like that. So they're not going to be making any more V12s. So
Gotcha.
it's like the last true exotic. It's pretty cool.
The last true exotic. That might be the name of this podcast. The last true exotic. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so yes, you invest in currency. Where did you get this knowledge? Tell me the story of the beginning of how you got this information.
So originally, when I first started dealing with cryptocurrency, it was solely just Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is one of those subjects that you can really research for a whole year before you even get to other cryptocurrencies. That, like, people look at Bitcoin on the surface and don't realize how deep it really is.
What year is this?
This is 2016.
2016, you started looking into Bitcoin.
2016, I was forced to start looking into Bitcoin because I didn't have any money. Didn't have any money. I pretty much was in a situation where I lost everything. And I went back down to Savannah, right? I knew I needed to make some money somehow. And, I knew that a way to make some money was through Bitcoin. I've always been an entrepreneur. So I don't even know how to get a job. Like, every time I've ever applied for a job.
Because you think real estate is the way to make some money. You could start a t-shirt brand. That's the way to make some money. But right. I honestly don't even understand what cryptocurrency is. And it's making more sense because you said, if all of us in the room say Bitcoin is worth $30,000, it's worth $30,000. I don't even understand how that's possible.
And that's a very, very powerful concept. We should talk about it like towards the end. That would be really, really
Let's talk about it now, Fitz.
Okay. Well, think about it. So for art, so one big problem that crypto can solve, right? I see a lot of us as a community, like, we've been looking to, come together and become stronger, right? We're becoming more aware of the value of our dollar and our impact on the economy, right? So we'll see, or we used to see, like, hey, if you see a dollar with a B on it, spend it with your community, or don't shop at these places, right? Sometimes, in order to solve complicated problems, you have to flip it on its head. You got to reverse it, right? So one solution is, instead of us not spending money at certain places, how about we create our own and we spend it wherever? You understand what I'm saying? So we as a people could literally create our own cryptocurrency that does whatever we want it to do, whether we want it to be a normal form of money, whether we want it to generate some type of yield or earnings for us, right? And if we as a people decide that this is what we're going to back, like, there's nothing that can stop us from creating a valuable currency just for us, right? And if you're in early, what does that do for your net worth? What does that do for your asset sheets, right?
So we can create the black coin, and we decide, let's say, as all African Americans, we're going to back this, and this is now valuable. We don't need your green papers or anything like that. It's valuable because we say so.
So exactly, but it's not, and it's not a situation where it's, hey, I have to use one or the other, right? We're evolving. Money is evolving, right? We have over 9,000 different digital currencies, right? So we're working on systems and solutions to make these currencies and these networks that these currencies operate on interoperable, meaning that we can easily convert from one to another, right? We can be at a store, like, for example, I have a crypto.com debit card, right? That crypto.com, I can have Doge on it, I can have Bitcoin, I can have Ethereum. If I need to make a purchase and I don't have US dollars on it, I can immediately exchange my Bitcoin or my Ethereum for some US dollars, right? And I can make a purchase. So that process over the years will become much more seamless. It's already easy now, but it's going to be, much more seamless as the technology continues to improve and develop.
Got you. So the advice now is to buy some sort of cryptocurrency, right? Because that's going to be right now it's worth lower than it's going to be. And maybe not every coin, but generally, if you get into cryptocurrency now, it'll cost you way less than it will in 3 years.
Right. So a good way to look at the cryptocurrency market, the cryptocurrency space, is a market as a whole, right? So when I say digital assets, that's a very important word, right? Because it's a new asset class. It's an entirely new asset class. So when we look at the space and we see what the market cap is, right, and we compare it to its other, its counterparts.
Market cap?
Market cap is pretty much the amount of capital, the amount of money that's flowing into this particular sector. So,
give me an example.
So right now, gold has a market cap of about approximately $10 trillion, right? In perspective, cryptocurrency's market cap is somewhere around $2 trillion right now, right? Gold is one single asset. Mind you, we have a class of assets that have right now over 9,000, right? A few years ago, it was only 1,500.
Oh, wow.
So there's new digital currencies being added every day. So that market cap is constantly growing.
So gold market cap, meaning there's $10 trillion worth of gold in the world.
There's $10 trillion worth of gold in the world.
Gotcha.
Theoretically, allegedly.
Theoretically.
Allegedly, okay, because we can't prove that. We can't. Yeah, sure.
So with cryptocurrency, more is being added versus just the one gold. This is a standard. We say there's about $10 trillion worth of gold in the world, right?
Right.
If you have all the gold, you're a $10 trillion heir, right?
Right.
But crypto, every time something's added, that's more value to each asset that's coming, which it is super fast.
So what I'm saying is you have a $2 trillion, Bitcoin by itself is expected to surpass gold's market cap. Really? This is just Bitcoin, not the other cryptocurrencies. So imagine 5-10 years from now, that total market cap is no longer 2 trillion. Let's say that market cap is 10 trillion, right? So imagine you get in a market, right, where it's 2 trillion and you experience that growth all the way up to 10 trillion. You know what I'm saying? A rising tide lifts all boats. So if you're strategic and you understand where the capital is flowing into this market, you can buy those assets, right? Likely it'll be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few others. And as the market grows, so will your net worth.
Got you. Okay. All right. So back to how you got into this space.
Okay.
Did someone say, hey, have you heard of Bitcoin? Buy some.
So actually, and I think everybody who's been in Bitcoin for a while has like some type of similar story where somebody told them about Bitcoin and they didn't really listen at first, right, or they didn't believe in it, right? I knew about Bitcoin when this guy, so one of my buddies, he was like, hey man, I got this Indian guy, or this guy at Georgia Tech, it was this Indian guy, he had a really strong accent. He wants to talk to you, right? So he calls me and he's like, during this time I was doing real estate. And he's like, hey man, you should really check out Bitcoin. This was like 2013. And he tried to tell me a little bit about it, but it wasn't making much sense. So I asked him, I said, how much do you have or are you investing? He said, nah, man, I can't afford it. and immediately I cut the conversation off. Right. I was like, okay, well, that's the end of that.
Right.
It wasn't until 2016, I was living in a condominium building. And one of the guys there, he was doing very well. He was making about $3,000 a day, doing something with Bitcoin, but he wouldn't tell me what it was.
$3,000 a day. What's going on, family? I know you're enjoying the episode. Listen, but I don't know if you saw episode 117 of the Social Proof Podcast, featured this guy, my brother, Jonathan Gooch, okay? And since that episode where he's talking about getting people into the home healthcare business, me and my wife were literally filing our paperwork today. So he got me in the business of getting my home healthcare business. So can you tell them a little bit about what it is that we do?
So in short, what we do is we send out registered nurses, LPNs, and CNAs to take care of medically fragile individuals inside of the home. So if you have like a mom and dad that need medication administration, or if you have a child that needs help with ADLs, which are active daily living, like being able to get out of bed and brush their teeth, we're just a staffing agency that takes care of these individuals and rehabilitate them to be able to live a normal life.
You ran it up to a 7-figure company?
Yes, a 7-figure company.
When I file this paperwork, am I going to have a 7-figure company too?
Easily. Like, you'll probably get an offer to buy your company for a couple of M's.
Yo, give them the website, bro. and there's a discount. There's a discount already baked into the website.
Yep.
So you don't have to use the promo code. Just go to the website. It's already baked in. Make sure you click so you saw it in social proof.
And
go. What's the website?
Homehealthcareblueprint.com. I see you guys on the inside.
Let's go.
He's making about $3,000 back then a day.
He said doing something with Bitcoin.
Something with Bitcoin. I didn't know what it was. He wouldn't tell me. And like I said, I eventually got to a situation where I was forced to do something else. I ran out of money. I couldn't really market for wholesale, and at that point, I had stepped away from wholesaling so much. I would have had to take a lot of time and money and effort to start generating income at that point, and I was on zero. Right. So I did some research. I started doing a lot of research actually, and I found out what he was doing. What he was doing was called OTC trading, over-the-counter trading.
Over-the-counter trading.
Over-the-counter trading. So he would literally go and meet people face-to-face and sell them Bitcoin for a percentage. So you may have heard of a Bitcoin ATM.
Yes.
Right? So when you go to a Bitcoin ATM, you can get Bitcoin instantly, right? But they're going to charge you a fee for that service. Okay. Oftentimes it's like, well, it was like 25% at one point. I think it's somewhere around 15% now. It's still really high.
25%. So the guy, he'll walk up to you and say, "Hey Fitz, would you like to buy some Bitcoin?"
No, he won't walk up to you. No. So there's a network pretty much. So I'm not sure exactly what he was using, but I'm sure he was involved in some type of network that let people know that he was someone that they could buy Bitcoin from.
Was this before like your Coinbases and stuff like that?
This was either early Coinbase or before Coinbase. But the issue was, and actually I think Coinbase was around. The issue was Coinbase had small limits. Coinbase had a lot of hurdles to jump through, right, in order to buy the Bitcoin, and then you had to wait a certain amount of time before you can move your Bitcoin. It was a lot of stipulations, and people who needed Bitcoin during the time, they didn't have time to wait on those stipulations. They didn't want to be limited in the amount that they could purchase.
Got it.
Right?
So that guy, if I wanted to buy $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, I pay, I guess, his company to allow me to have Bitcoin. And it seems so complex. It seems so complicated though. Like
so it's like selling smoothies. It's the same. It's the same. Or it's like selling anything. I mean, at the end of the day, you buy low, you sell high. You buy some shoes at wholesale price, and you go sell those shoes.
Oh, so he had to buy it first.
Oh yeah, he bought it first. So that's so once I figured out what he was doing, I found a couple of platforms that allowed me to do the same thing. So local Bitcoins, it matches buyers and sellers of Bitcoin, where you can meet people face to face and buy and sell Bitcoin. Paxful.com. Paxful was another platform that allowed you to match buyers and sellers, whereas you would either sell face-to-face, you may sell via PayPal, you might sell via Amex card, you might sell via wire transfer, you might sell via cash or check deposit into your business account. There's a lot of different ways, right? And these platforms facilitated those transactions. They were the escrow between those non-face-to-face transactions. So once I learned what he was doing, I actually, I had a friend send me $500. Like I had nothing, right? So she sent me $500, and I used that to buy Bitcoin from a seller on local Bitcoins, because local Bitcoin is for like larger volume, so you'll get better rates and things like that. Paxful is small transactions, you can charge a higher percentage. Right. So I would actually buy the Bitcoin from local Bitcoins, and then I would go sell the Bitcoin on Paxful for 15 to 20%. So I started with $500, buy $500 of Bitcoin. I'd get, they'd charge me maybe 5%, right? So out of that, I get over $400, like $450 or whatever of Bitcoin. Right. I would go and sell that for a 15 to 20% premium. Dang. And I would just rinse and repeat every single day, rinse and repeat.
He's doing that on a high level at some point, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it started with $500, and eventually I got to a point where I had about $10,000 or $15,000, and then and this is one of those things, man. One of my favorite songs is this dude named Chinks. He's not with us anymore, but it was a song called "How to Get Rich," and the song is pretty much saying, nobody can tell you how to get rich. Like nobody can tell how, you know, you'll come out of this hole that you're in, right? Everybody has their own story. There's certain things that only this particular person can experience during this particular time that may have helped them, right? So I had a situation where Stripe locked up about $10,000 from my wholesale business, my real estate wholesale business, and they held it for like 6-7 months. So once I got up to about $10,000 trading Bitcoin day to day, peer to peer OTC, I got like a random. Actually, it was like on my birthday. I got like a random $10,000 deposit. So at this point, I had $20,000 that I could now.
So Stripe released the money.
Stripe released the money
on your birthday.
Stripe released the money, man. Like it was crazy. So at this point now I have $20,000, and I'm still saving everything because at this point I'm still in Savannah. I'm sleeping on an air mattress that's deflating every night. So so at that point I was able to find a mentor. It was very hard to find a mentor because that guy didn't even want to tell me what he did. And online, people aren't talking about it.
Right.
Like
my first time hearing it.
Yeah, a lot of people still don't know about it.
They still do it?
People still do it. I think the margins are much smaller now.
Because you got these bigger platforms.
You got bigger
platforms on my app.
You got bigger platforms, and also during that time, it was more of a gray area, right? Because at certain, like you had to report certain transactions over $1,000, right? And a lot of other, KYC, AML things that you had to follow in order to be in good standing with FinCEN.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So now it's a little different, right? Those lines are drawn a little more clearly, and banks don't like cash.
Yeah.
Right.
Were you making money doing this?
Making money doing what?
Like OTC? I mean, good money. Were you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So at one point, I took that $20,000. I paid for some mentorship. It was actually a guy. He used to be a VP of a bank, and he's head first in the crypto now. He's doing very well now. But he taught me the game. He taught me how to talk to the banks and how to become friends with them and how to protect myself against loss and fraud from people who are trying to scam us and things like that. Helped me get all of my procedures and policies together. Really gave me the whole game. And eventually I got up to a point where I was flipping $100,000 a day. Of course, my margins were lower. It wasn't 15 to 20% because now I'm on local Bitcoins.
Right.
But I was able to get 5 to 8% a day off of from like 20,000 up to 100,000. I was able to get 5 to 8% a day.
So if you're flipping $100,000 a day, you're like $5,000,
$5,000 to $8,000 a day. $5,000 to $8,000 a day. Now it may have not. So once I got up to that volume, it may have not been 7 days a week like it would be with Paxful, but it was definitely around 3 to 4 days a week.
Dang, that's crazy.
I could do that.
That's lit.
So
why'd you ever stop that?
All right. So a lot of my transactions were cash, right? And the banks just don't like a lot of cash. They really do not want you depositing a bunch of cash.
That's so weird because they don't want you to deposit a lot of cash, but they don't want you to take out a lot of cash either.
And that's another big thing. So once I started to see that, I'm like, oh, everything is becoming more digital. Yeah. Like everything is becoming more digital. So it makes perfect sense for us to now have a digital store of value like Bitcoin. Right. Because mind you, all this time while I'm doing OTC trading, like I'm not just doing OTC trading, right? I'm actually studying a lot about Bitcoin. I'm studying a lot about blockchain technology because in the news, in the articles, in the different research articles I was seeing during that time, they were trying to separate blockchain from Bitcoin. You can't separate blockchain from Bitcoin because without Bitcoin, you don't have a successful blockchain.
Are you able to explain blockchain? Because anybody know what blockchain is? Kind of like, no? And see, like you hear it and you know Bitcoin is on the blockchain. This is the best way I can describe it. This is the blockchain, and Bitcoin is on it, and then everybody's on it can buy on the. Terrible example. That's a terrible example.
So, all right. So blockchain is pretty much a universal record book. You guys know about a record book. So it's like, okay, if I'm at the library or something, right, and I check out this book, I got to sign here, right? Now, imagine that copy of that record book being distributed to everybody in the world or everybody in this particular network. So whenever I check out a book, everybody in the world can see that I checked out a book. So if it looks different on anybody else's copy, we know that something is wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So once everybody validates, hey, yeah, Joe checked out this book at this particular time, or Joe exchanged this book for this particular thing at this particular time. Once we validate that, right, it is cemented on this particular record. The thing is with blockchain is it can't be altered, can't be manipulated. So once it's there forever. So
the scammers are gonna figure out a way, bro.
Nah, not with this tech.
Scammers always do.
So that's the interesting thing about this technology. In order to change anything on the blockchain, it would take billions and billions of dollars. So financially, it's not necessarily worth it because even to change a small thing, it would take that, right? So there's a big disincentive to even put that type of energy up on something that might not even happen. The only thing that could really and the reason why, imagine this. Let me explain blockchain on one more level. It's decentralized, right? I said it decentralized. It decentralizes everything and it stores value. So when...
Can you explain So Joe doesn't know what decentralized means.
Okay.
So if you can explain to him. I got you, bro. It's all good.
So you have centralized systems or centralized things, and you have decentralized. So I'll explain it like this. We'll explain the two entities like a starfish and a spider, right? So a spider represents the centralized entity. Okay. Starfish represents the decentralized.
Gotcha.
Now, if I want to stop this spider from functioning or whatever, if I remove his head, that spider's head makes all of his decisions. He will cease to function. He won't be able to move, walk, whatever, right? If I cut off one of his legs, I think some spiders actually grow legs back, but it's whatever. If I cut off all his legs, it's going to be a problem. So the same thing with organizations like Apple. If you remove the CEO, right, you got to replace the CEO or everything's going to be chaos. The starfish, on the other hand, right, represents the decentralized organization. What happens when you remove a starfish's leg?
It grows back.
Exactly. It grows back. What happens if you cut a starfish in half?
I don't know.
You got two starfish.
Really?
Exactly. That's what happened with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash.
Don't laugh. Y'all knew that? Y'all didn't know that. All right, don't act like I didn't know. Y'all can laugh at me. Dang, that's crazy.
Nah, right. So, and also another really interesting thing about starfish is in order for a starfish to move, all of the legs have to agree to move. Unlike the spider, where the head decides where and when to move, all of the legs of a starfish represent themselves, right? And they have to agree to move. That is how you understand decentralized organizations versus centralized organizations. So all of the power in the starfish is decentralized and equally distributed throughout the rest of the legs, whereas all of the main power in the spider is in his head.
So cryptocurrency, or blockchain or cryptocurrency?
That's explaining blockchain.
Right. So you're saying that's decentralized, meaning everybody has to agree that this is where we're going.
Exactly. That's how cryptocurrencies change. That's how they improve. That's how any type of change that needs to happen to a cryptocurrency, the community has to agree. And that's and the beautiful thing is, normally those centralized organizations suck up a lot of the income or the capital on that network, right? In forms of profit, right?
Gotcha.
In decentralized entities, those profits, whatever the network, makes, is then distributed to the people who participate in that network.
Got it. Okay. All right. Did we finish explaining blockchain? Because I really want to get into what to buy, because I'm going to buy some stuff right now. Okay. All right. Oh, so yes. So You didn't like going to the bank with cash, then you just start studying, right? So what do we do now? Do you start trading it?
Yeah. So at a certain point, I had a nice amount of money, and I started to trade. Right. I got lucky on a few. I got lucky, and I say lucky because I understood what was going on back then, but not the way that I understand now.
Gotcha. What'd you get lucky on?
I got lucky on Bitcoin.
How much was it?
I started buying Bitcoin, or like, because I was trading so much Bitcoin, so my profit was in. I would always have extra Bitcoin, right? So I was saving Bitcoin. I was buying Bitcoin at like $1,500, $1,000, $3,000. Yeah, I was the same thing that happened this time around. Whereas I was one of those guys like, hey, buy Bitcoin before it shot up to 20,000. This time around, I was like, hey, buy Bitcoin. It's about to pop. And then it shoots up to 50, 60,000, and that was under 20,000 this time around. So I was telling people around 10,000 this time, hey, buy Bitcoin.
Did you ever sell?
Would I ever sell?
Nah, did you ever sell?
I sold some Bitcoin. I still sell. Like I'm always in and out of Bitcoin. So my profit as a trader is in Bitcoin.
Gotcha.
So the platform I trade on gives me profit in Bitcoin. So I always have Bitcoin.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
How many coins you got, man?
All right. So rule number 1 in crypto, you never tell anybody how many coins you have.
Okay.
Because it's a risk, right? Because think about it. If you got a certain amount of Bitcoin and people know that you have a certain amount of Bitcoin, they know it's not in the bank, right? Maybe it's on a hardware device, maybe it's on a phone, but you know where it is, right? So if someone wanted to target you, they could literally kidnap you and do things to make you tell them where your Bitcoin is. So you'll see people who have a lot of Bitcoin, they'll never tell you how much Bitcoin they have. They'll probably downplay it.
Hold on, man, because I put my Ethereum joint on my story. Take that off real quick. I don't want to get kidnapped. I posted it yesterday. I was like, ooh, I got some Ethereum and it went up. I want to take that off right now.
It's not that you can't. It's not that you can't.
Nope, you already said it. If you're not going to tell me, I'm not about to tell
It's not that you can't tell. It's not that you can't tell them to. It's not that you can't say, hey, I own Bitcoin, I own Ethereum. It's how much.
I know. My whole number was on their face.
Oh, okay. But see, times are changing though, because someone will see that, and like the people who are real targets are people who have hundreds of millions or multiple like millions in Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? I'm not sure how much did you have like over $1 million in Ethereum on there?
Fitz, come on. If I did, you think I'd be podcasting, bro? Man, no. That's a couple dollars.
All right. So yeah, like, so you find like it's more risky that like the more that you accumulate, because we've seen like if you go back on Google and you research like Bitcoin kidnappings or anything like that, I bet you'll find a bunch of articles.
Wow.
People who have been kidnapped and going missing, over Bitcoin.
Because it's like, I want you to log in, transfer to my wallet, but you can't track it necessarily.
So that's the thing. Everything. Remember that record that I just told you. Everything is trackable. So people always think Bitcoin or cryptos are anonymous. They're not anonymous. Some of them are anonymous, but Bitcoin is not anonymous. It's pseudonymous. We know everything that's happening on the blockchain. We just might not know who's behind what's happening. We don't know who's behind. We see 1,000 Bitcoin move from here to here. We see that. Yeah. It's available for everybody to see. We just don't know who's behind it.
But somebody can like dig in the records and
exactly. So that's why you have Coinbase, right? And other US-based exchanges, they require what's called KYC, know your customer, AML, anti-money laundering laws, right? They have these policies and procedures in place. And that's why they have you taking a picture next to your ID. That's why they have facial recognition so that they can track you. So every time you buy on Coinbase, that transaction is tracked from here until eternity.
But here's the thing. I've seen, like if you send money to the wrong thing, it's like they say it's just in this crypto world and it's lost forever. I've heard that before.
They're tracking it, but they're tracking it, but they can't change it. They can't do anything to it. So even though Coinbase sees where it goes, if you send it to the wrong address, you just send it to the wrong address. They can't do anything about it.
They can't tell you where it's at. that person can give it back.
You can tell yourself where it's at, but they can't get it. If they don't know who that person is, actually, they probably can't or reach. Or,
but they wouldn't know who it is if the person took the pic. Oh, but the wallet isn't necessarily on.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Yeah. So be careful.
Be very careful.
Okay. All right. So you start trading this Bitcoin.
Yeah, I started trading Bitcoin because they started shutting down a lot of my bank accounts, right? I had a lot of different business accounts, but like I said, the cash was a problem.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm looking, I'm like, man, these altcoins are doing numbers.
Altcoins?
Alternative coins. Actually, we don't even have to call them altcoins anymore. Just call them other digital currencies.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
Because the Bitcoin was like the main one, and then everything else was alternative.
Yeah, exactly. But
Gotcha.
as we are evolving as a space, they're just digital currencies, digital assets, whatever the case is, right? Or digital currencies. They started shutting down my bank account, so I needed to find a way to have some type of business that I could scale or some type of scalable income. It was very hard. I stayed at that cap of 100,000 because it was hard. It was hard to move that type of cash. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Consistently.
All right, look, I know you're enjoying the episode, but I got to tell you, finally, you asked for it, and we created a Patreon. Okay, we created an inner circle. We have amazing stories, amazing information, how-tos from the episodes. The only thing we're missing is a community. So it's about that time. We put together our Patreon, we put together a community because we have to have conversation around the information. So even this podcast we're listening to right now, there needs to be conversation. I want to hear what you got. Like, let's throw some stuff back and forth. And because we're like-minded, we're all going in the same direction. When we connect in a community, we can connect on other stuff outside the community because we're building real relationships. Okay, so check out the Patreon. We got 3 tiers. I don't care what tier you join. The support is appreciated. Okay, thank you so much. Now back to the episode.
It was a problem. Sure. So I started to learn how to trade on the exchange. And I started to understand, how to trade other digital currencies, other cryptocurrencies. And I got exposed to leverage. I got exposed to leverage. Leverage trading is like turning $1 into $500. So it's like you go on an exchange, you got $1, they'll give you $500 for every dollar you got. Right?
Who does that?
To trade with. A lot of exchanges do that. That's how the Forex traders are making a lot of money with a little bit of money.
Gotcha.
Leverage.
Is trading Forex hard?
Trading. So I don't trade Forex. It's the same principles, same concepts. It's not hard, but it's an art form. Like, for example, you host podcasts, right? You wouldn't necessarily say it's hard, but it's more of an art form because the way that you do it is different from how someone else does it, right? So trading is very easy and simple to understand from a technical standpoint, right? But it's putting all of those pieces together and creating your own art form, right? That's the difficult part. People don't understand that part or forget that part and don't realize how long it takes to develop a true art form.
For sure. Okay, and so what do you teach?
So I teach people, so my whole thing, like one of my founding principles is really, well, not founding principles, one of my guiding lights is really getting my family from fixing everything that happened in my family for like the last 2 or 3 generations. So I feel like I feel like I have to create a legacy, a very strong legacy, right? So my goal is to, have like Rockefeller, Rothschild type wealth, right? So rich forever. Like Rick Ross is always talking about rich forever. It's like I want to have, and it's not even I want the money, but it's more so for my family and to change the trajectory so that we can really, so that my sons, right, can really like kind of focus on some ideological things, right, and not necessarily have to worry about money. So I teach people how to build wealth in crypto, right, because you have a new class of assets, right, that's very infrastructural. So we got a very unique opportunity here, right? Where we can invest in a house, right? We can invest in some art or land, right? But how often can we invest, not trade, but how often can we invest and truly be a part of a new global infrastructure? And when I say infrastructure, I mean things that are key to the operation of society. Right? So now I'm talking about on a global scale. So I'm talking about even bigger than just city infrastructure. City infrastructure is like highways, plumbing, right? Global infrastructure, global infrastructure is like banking, right? So by owning Bitcoin, you own a piece of a global infrastructural monetary system, right?
Got
By
you.
owning Ethereum, you own a piece of global infrastructure. You literally have thousands, if not millions of people working on your asset right now
Well,
to
I don't
make
got
it better.
Ethereum. I ain't got none.
Not yet. Oh, yeah.
Keep that low. Keep that low.
But no. So that's what I teach. I teach people how to attach themselves to this high growth industry, right? In a way that that's responsible, risk averse, right, and strategic, right. So we're not just buying Dogecoin because it's cool, right? We're buying Bitcoin because most of the new wealthy will store their value, will store all of their money, their wealth in Bitcoin, because gold, they don't have physical gold. They don't know if that gold exists or not, right?
Got you.
And we're more of a digital group of people, right? So that's why we invest in Bitcoin. We understand that all of these different applications, the same way that a lot of applications are built on the Apple platform, Apple consumes all of that. Apple's sitting on $1 trillion in cash. They're not giving that back to us. Ethereum is the host of a lot of decentralized apps. So they call them dApps. So like we call them apps on our iPhone. On Ethereum, they're called dApps, decentralized applications, right? So as Ethereum is the host for all of that, right? As more and more things are built on top of it, meaning more and more people are using this overall network, we own a part of that network. So our net worth, the value of that asset that we hold, will constantly increase.
Where do you think Ethereum's going to go? I want to see where it's at right now, so we can have a screenshot. So after in 2 years, when someone's watching this, they'll say, "Wow, it was only here," and Fitz was right. It went here. So right now, Ethereum is at
3,000. What is it?
3,355. 3,300.
Exactly.
Where do you think Ethereum's going?
I can easily see Ethereum hitting 10K.
Word?
I can easily see Ethereum hitting 10K. Whether it takes 2 years or 3 years, you got to ask yourself, I mean, what else is going to do more than double that with pretty high confidence?
So it's still good to buy right now.
From a long-term perspective, which is what I teach people, right? I say it's still.
Oh, so you're not teaching the trading in and out. It goes up today, down tomorrow.
So that's a portion. So like the club I was telling you about earlier, how I give people, how I give members my top 5 to 7 long-term holds, but I also have monthly picks that I expect to do well on a monthly basis.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So more short-term, right? So those are.
Hold on, in your club, and we'll have a link for them, right? We'll have a link in the description. We're in this club. You're teaching them, like, this month, this is what we buying. This is you're not forcing them, but this is what I'm going to be buying. This is the pick for this month. And you're telling them to get in, then get out?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm not telling them to get in. I'm telling them what I'm doing, right? They have an option to follow me or not, right?
Gotcha.
This is what I'm watching. This is why I'm watching it, right? And I like these levels. So I'm going to get in here, right? And, as it increases, right, when it's time to take profit, I'll also send those same alerts or that update of, hey, okay, I'm getting out at this point. And actually, I'll let you know where I'm getting out before it even gets to that point. So it's not like a last minute type thing. All of your trades should be planned.
And that's for somebody who kind of understands it. But the course, that's like for the beginners, like somebody doesn't know anything.
Course will take you from not knowing anything to knowing a whole lot. From not understanding how money was created, the trend, the history of money, to why cryptocurrencies, why money is evolving into crypto and how that will play into society, all the way up into the next phase, which is building your portfolio, having a portfolio thesis, having an investment strategy, having a structured portfolio that's risk averse, right? Having tools that allow you to keep your portfolio healthy so to speak, right? And also, more importantly, how to identify and research these different cryptocurrencies before they become popular, right? And understanding the market cycles of these cryptocurrencies, because in reality, we are all looking at Doge, right? But Doge pumps, and when I say pump, means like increases in price significantly every bull market, right?
What's bull market?
A bull market is when you have it's like the stock market, when we saw a huge influx of growth, like the way that Tesla, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Neo, all these, stock companies started growing tremendously and tremendously fast. That's a bull market. Like a bull is just...
So everybody's going at it, bull market.
Right. Bear market, on the other hand, is when, bears hibernate. Right? Bears eat, and then they hibernate, they sleep, they don't move. The markets aren't as active or going down, right? So that's the difference between the bull. Bull high energy, bear low energy.
Okay, I kind of figured, I never understood that like that. Okay, that's good. All right, so first off, how much is the course?
The course is $19.97.
Okay, I don't know when you're watching it, it could go up, but this is my thing. Can we give my audience a discount?
Absolutely.
Somewhere? I'm only asking because I want to take it. I want to pay full price. All right, so we'll figure out what the discount is.
Okay, cool.
But I don't, on your platform, can we just do like social proof or something like that? Social proof and the discount code? Okay,
yeah, we'll do that for sure.
All right, great. So we'll put it in there. Great. Because I want them to know that you can't help. But so it's the course for the beginners, and that's to understand the foundation so you can build your own wealth without having to rely on you saying, okay, this is what we're doing this month.
Exactly. The course teaches you the why behind my picks and how to go out and hunt for yourself.
Let me ask you, with the course, will they have access to the club or is it separate?
The club, so the course is actually, when you buy the course, you have automatic access to the club.
Oh, gotcha.
As well. So the course comes with access to the club as well as an investor workbook, right? So,
well, tell me about the workbook.
So the workbook, the workbook is pretty much walking you through the basics of developing your own initial crypto portfolio. So it's walking you through, hey, answer these questions. Hey, what's your target allocation? This is how to think through this. So it's pretty much walking you through. So you can choose to get the workbook by itself, right? So you have the workbook, you have the Investors Club, and you have the course. If you get the course, it comes with the club and the workbook.
Got it.
The workbook comes by itself. If you get the club, the workbook comes with it.
Got it. And I like when people have something to offer to sell, because it's one thing to watch a podcast and you kind of get information, but if we want to go deeper with you, then we can kind of get that. But so my man Justin, shout out to Justin Owens. You know Justin? Justin Owens, New Age CEO.
New Age CEO.
Yeah.
I've never met him, but I know him.
Yeah, we in the same circle. So we were at Marcus's conference, Him 500 conference, and I said, "Bro, take me shopping. I'm gonna put some money in my Coinbase and just buy a bunch of stuff for me." You know what I mean? So he took my phone and he just started buying stuff. So he bought some. Let me see what my portfolio is. I got Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano. Yeah, Cardano. It's ADA. That's a good one?
Yes.
Okay. I got Stellar, which is XLM. I got Anchor, ANKR. He got me some BAT, Basic Attention Token. Is that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let me ask you, what is the thing that you're screaming right now like you were screaming in Bitcoin? Yo, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. What should we be buying? Because I'm going to buy it right now.
Ethereum.
Ethereum right now?
Ethereum.
That's the move.
Ethereum.
Okay, so you think it's going to... You feel like it's going to get to 10,000?
Ethereum, I'm not saying it's going to get to 10,000 this year, but to me, the way that I'm looking at Ethereum is it's a second shot at getting Bitcoin for really cheap. Because what's happening with Ethereum is, once again, like I said, in order to change these networks, we as a community have to agree to the changes, right? So some of the developers of the Ethereum network, right, the people who sit in the background and do all the tech stuff that allow us to build these amazing technologies, they've made they've put a proposal together to say, hey, we think this change will make the network better. And this particular change makes Ethereum a bit deflationary, right? Meaning that, so for example, the US dollar is inflationary because the feds just keep printing money. That's why you see the value of milk, everyday items increasing in price
Right.
because the value of the dollar is going down because they keep printing so much of it. The reason why we buy Bitcoin, the reason why you have billionaires and companies holding part of their balance sheets in Bitcoin is because it's deflationary. We know exactly how much is in circulation. As more people use it and hold it, less of it will be in circulation. That's called deflationary. They're not making any more Bitcoin. They're making a change to Ethereum that gives it those same characteristics.
Hold on real quick. So they're not making any more Bitcoin, meaning there's a finite amount of it, but the market cap will go up only because that finite amount will continue to raise?
There's a finite amount. That market cap will increase because people will continue to pour money into this network. So although there's a finite amount, like I can have a Bitcoin is, you can break it down like 8 decimal places. So unlike the dollar, right, where you have a couple of decimal places, right, a Bitcoin, you have 8 decimal places.
You mad smart, Fitz. You mad smart. I just wanted to tell you that. Like, you be using words Joe don't know, and it's like...
My bad.
Like, you really, like, I'm learning so much about money in this episode. I'm sorry, keep going. I just wanted to give you your flowers for that. Because I'm like, dang, I feel mad brilliant right now. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. So it's only a couple decimal places, like you, $3.99, only 2 decimal places.
Exactly.
But you can break
a Bitcoin down to 8. So even though the market cap will increase, right, it may be a point where it's 0.00001 Bitcoin could be equivalent to $1, which would be crazy, which means that, you know, Bitcoin is probably at $1 million per coin or something crazy like that.
Do you think Bitcoin's going to get to $1 million?
Oh, absolutely.
$1 million per coin?
Yeah.
So Ethereum, you think like 10,000 is pretty much it? You're going to sell all your Ethereum?
No.
Or you think it'll go crazy?
No, I'm saying 10,000 is a realistic goal or realistic projection as an investor. I'm an investor in Ethereum, so I see it getting to 10,000.
But it could
easily
be where Bitcoin is.
Easily, I can see it getting to 10,000. Bitcoin has a lot more room for growth. Like, people think that we're late on Bitcoin, like, really don't understand. Like, we're in a supply shock of Bitcoin, right? Like, at one point, supply shock meaning that there's not that many Bitcoin out here left. So there's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be created, right? So a certain amount of Bitcoin are released into the world every day. It's about 800 or 900 at this point, every day. The last Bitcoin won't, in every 4 years, that number is cut in half. Every 4 years, that number is cut in half. So in 4 years, it's going to go from like 800 to 400 a day, right? So the last Bitcoin won't be released into society or mined, right, until the year 2141. So you have an asset that can potentially increase in value for over for the at least the next 100 years.
Dang. And right now it's at 50-something thousand.
It's at like 54,000, something like that.
It's not too late.
It's not too late.
Are you waiting on a pullback or anything like that?
No, because I use a different strategy, right? It's called dollar cost averaging. So
teach that in the course?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Of course. So dollar cost averaging is where it stops you from asking that question, should I buy now? Should I wait on the dip? Because I hear a lot of people, should I wait on the dip, right? Well, the thing is, you don't know when a dip is coming. You don't know if Bitcoin is going to shoot up to 100,000 and then dip back down to 50,000 and never see 20,000 again. You don't know that, right? You don't know if Bitcoin is going to drop and hit 10,000 tomorrow. We don't know that. So we use dollar cost averaging, which is pretty much you buy consistently. You put yourself on a schedule, whether you're going to buy every week, every day, every month. You decide how much of your income you want to invest in any particular asset, right? Whether it's 10%, 5%, 2%, or 1%. And you can very easily set it up on auto pay or something like that on Coinbase, whereas they'll take out a specific amount from your account.
That's crazy, because I actually saw that on here. I'm like, yo, why would I do that?
Yeah, because what that does is you won't get in at the best price, but you won't get in at the worst price. But by the time you have finished accumulating, gathering the amount of Bitcoin that you want, maybe you have a goal of getting 1 Bitcoin, right? By the time you get that 1 Bitcoin, over the span of time, it'll be at a good average cost. It might not be at the height, right? It might not be at the low. I didn't get it at 3,000, but I didn't get it at 100,000 either.
Right.
You know?
For sure.
So it's a safe way to accumulate an asset that you have high hopes for, or that you got a good, strong projection for.
Is there anything else that's like super low you think is going to be like the next Doge? I want to find the next Doge.
The next...
And I know I'm thinking about it all wrong.
Doge.
My mindset is just it's to get rich quick right now, and I'm sorry.
No. So Dogecoin, and then I'll tell you a couple of things that I'm looking at. Dogecoin is like I said, every year it pumps, right? And I know we got off that and started talking about bull market and bear market, but every bull market, Doge pumps consistently. Like, it's very predictable. So if you understand how to look at charts just a little bit and see that, okay, these things are going sideways, they're not going up, they're not going down, because the market is only going to go up, down, or sideways when you're looking at a chart. When it's going sideways, right, for an extended period of time, that's normally during a bear market, right? That's when you want to buy Dogecoin, because a market is simply buyers and sellers. So everybody who you see buying Dogecoin, they got to buy it from somebody. Who you think they're buying it from?
The people that are selling it.
The people who's selling it. And when did they get it? They got it when it was boring, when nobody was talking about it, when it was going sideways. So I just gave y'all a play. Pretty much, if you want to make money on cryptocurrencies, even if it's just Doge specifically, you're like, okay, I like Doge for some reason, right? And you're like, I want to make money on this next time, more than I made this time. You can wait for it to flatline, buy it, be patient. It might take months, it might take a year, but we've seen the type of growth that it has every time it pumps, right? And then you turn yourself into one of those people who are selling to everybody else instead of those people who are buying at the top, only getting a little bit of profit or even actually losing money on that purchase.
So when it flatlines, the probability is higher that it goes up than goes down? I'm saying, is it flatline then drop like that? Or that doesn't happen often?
Based on, when I say flatline, so it'll go back to a major, and I'm getting technical, but it's called a support level. It'll go back to a major. Yeah, there's videos on support and resistance level, because I do think every investor needs to understand some form of technical analysis, right? But once,
and what's technical analysis? I'm sorry, Joe, I got you, bro.
So technical analysis is when you see, you've ever seen a movie where you got these big screens and you're on Wall Street, right? And you got all these charts and graphs, right? Technical analysis is understanding what you're looking at when you see these different charts. They're a representation of price, but more importantly, they're a representation of human emotion just in digital graphic form. You know, so. What do you mean? So market cycles. Everything in the world has a cycle, right? The moon, that's why the oceans have high tide, low tide. Our bodies have cycles, all these things, right? Markets have cycles, right? Sometimes you feel great, sometimes you don't feel great. That is represented in the market, right? In cycles. So you get to a point where you're in disbelief. You're in disbelief. Oh, I don't believe it's going up. Then you get to a point where, oh man, this is really going up. Then you get to a point where, oh man, this is going up so high, it's never going to come down. That's called euphoria, right? When you see people too excited about something and they're like, it's never going down, that's when you get worried, because 9 times out of 10, it's going down after that.
God.
You know, so understanding human emotions when you're looking at these charts will help you become a better investor, and learning and give you guidance or guidelines or cues as to when to get in.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
And when to get out.
Okay. All right. So I got some Ethereum, a little bit.
All right, and
what else?
All right.
What else
so
should
cool.
I be buying?
All right. So
what about this whole XRP thing?
So all right. So XRP, XRP is one of those things where I feel like it's high risk to me. High risk, high reward though, because right now they're going through some type of legal battle with the SEC. If they come out on top, XRP will likely have a major bull run, right? So that's something that I would trade. Love to trade that, right? From a long-term investment standpoint, the actual token itself, I don't see what value it has. The people who created it still own 50% of the supply. That's a big issue for any cryptocurrencies, because it's like it can easily be manipulated. If I own 50% of something, I pretty much got say-so over it, right? So it's like if I own 50% of the business and you only own 49%,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So
got you.
exactly.
But when the people have it,
or 51%.
right?
And
But when the people have it, then the people decides, and that makes it more solid.
Right. So to find a good, successful cryptocurrency, it's important to identify the distribution of the supply, right? Meaning that, is it equally distributed amongst the community, or is there a small group of people who own and control most of this network? You understand what I'm saying? Because once again, crypto is all about decentralization. Naturally, we'll have some hybrid situations where there's a form of centralization and decentralization. But overall, the fundamentals, the foundation of crypto is all about decentralization. So to find good quality, long-term cryptocurrencies, you want to find things that have a nice decentralized community, because what happens is now you have more input from the community. And I haven't ran into any problems that humans as a collective couldn't solve. So when you give humans the ability to work on things and fix problems and to build things without any roadblocks or hurdles or without getting permission, you get a lot of things done, which is why crypto is growing as fast as it's growing.
Wow. Oh, okay. All right. So
Uniswap.
Uniswap?
That's what you're going to ask, yeah.
What's that?
So Uniswap is like a...
Uniswap, I don't even know what that is. So I'm glad you thought I was going to ask that because
Because I'm supposed to tell you what else I'm looking at.
I'm so educated right now. Golly. So Uniswap, is that a coin?
It's a coin, right?
Oh. So you like it?
Yeah, I like Uniswap.
Can I buy it on Coinbase?
You might be able to buy it on Coinbase. So let me tell you. So if you ever want to know where to buy any coin from, you go to coinmarketcap.com. You type in that coin in the search box, right? And you'll click the tab that says markets. Markets. When you click the tab that says markets, it'll show you every exchange, every place that you can buy that particular coin from.
Okay.
And that's how you make your decision. So you see if it's on Coinbase, it'll tell you it's on Coinbase. If it's on Uniswap, it'll tell you it's on Uniswap. If it's on Binance, it'll tell you that.
Gotcha.
So
let me see if Uniswap is on. I was gonna go through the whole thing, but there's no way to like just search coins on Coinbase. Do you have Coinbase?
I don't have Coinbase.
You don't do Coinbase? For some reason, I felt like you did. Like most like serious investors, they don't use the stuff that everybody else uses. So I had Wall Street Trapper on here. He's like, Robinhood is for rookies. You know what I mean? He got me on TD Ameritrade. But yeah. Oh, no, it is on here.
It's on Coinbase?
It's $43.
Yep.
You like that?
So I like Uniswap because what Uniswap is a real unicorn in the crypto space, which is saying a lot because there's a lot of unicorns in crypto, right? I mean, not so to say it's the unicorn of the unicorns is something special. And what I mean by that is Uniswap is a decentralized.
Look at everybody buying Uniswap. Look at y'all. Y'all should see this audience right now. Everybody's in their phone like, Uniswap. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Uniswap is a decentralized exchange. Mm-hmm. Coinbase is an exchange. It's a centralized exchange.
Yep.
Uniswap is an exchange, but it's decentralized. So what happens is they've created a token that represents ownership in that network, and there are different incentives for holding that particular token. Sometimes you might get airdrop, you might get free Uniswap, right? A certain amount of Uniswap gives you governing rights or abilities, right? So as we look at the volume, the transaction volume on Uniswap, at one point it was over the amount of volume or just as much as the volume at Coinbase, which is a centralized exchange, full marketing department, full marketing team, CEO, the whole nine. Nowadays, it's more like half, which is still billions of dollars every day. Yeah. And to know that something decentralized is doing this, facilitating these transactions, right, on one of the largest cryptocurrency networks is a very powerful thing. So as more and more people start to figure out that they can create their own digital currencies or that they can buy these digital currencies without having to submit a facial picture and all of those things, once people start to learn more about it, you're going to see this asset increase in value significantly. So
are you heavy in Uniswap?
I'm not going to say I'm heavy in Uniswap, but I like it a lot, and I got enough of it.
You got okay. You like it, and even at I'm sure you
heavy
probably
in
bought
Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay, I feel like you probably bought this cheaper than $43. It's $43.
Yeah,
that's
definitely,
okay.
Definitely bought it cheaper than 43.
Is that okay right now?
So once again, if you're looking at it long term, you're like, okay, I know it's going to be more than $43.
Right.
You know, over the next year or so, right? So you would dollar cost average into that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if it's like, okay, hey, I want $500 of Uniswap. Okay, well, let me stretch that out over the next 4 weeks.
Is that a good
every
amount?
day.
Is that a good amount of Uniswap? Less or more?
Well, it depends. It's hard for me to answer that because I don't know how much your other holdings are. You understand what I'm saying?
I can't say it on camera. I really want your advice. But what I'm saying, so you're saying
I don't know what percentage of your portfolio that would represent.
This would represent probably maybe 15%, maybe 10%, 15.
10 or 15?
But no. It'll represent about 20%.
I would definitely go lower.
Lower?
Yeah.
Why?
Just because you don't want to have, you want to leave your room, you want to leave yourself room for some more, for other coins that are, you know, a little more low risk, right? You don't want to have.
Is Uniswap high risk?
Uniswap is more like medium risk.
Gotcha.
Right? It's not high risk.
So what percentage? You think 5%, 10%?
I would go somewhere around 7%.
I'm gonna throw a couple dollars in there. Okay, we'll throw a few dollars in there. I'm doing it right now. Hold on.
Right,
okay.
Cool. So
throw a couple dollars in there. A few bucks.
Yeah. Start with that. Yeah.
Okay. I'll start with that. I'm not telling y'all because I know you're like, oh, I want to know what it is. I'm not saying it, okay? Because I don't want to get tied up in a basement somewhere. All right. So Uniswap. So right now, your biggest thing is still buy Bitcoin, buy some Ethereum, even though it's 3,300. That's low.
From a long-term perspective, that's low.
What percentage of your portfolio should be Bitcoin and Ethereum? If you were going to teach it generally.
So generally, the way that I teach initial portfolio building is what's called a naive allocation. Naive allocation. And it's piggybacking off of the concept that I told you about earlier, whereas if you have, if you look at the market and you say, okay, well, right now we're at 2 trillion. Even if we go back down to $1 trillion or under $1 trillion, at some point we're going to be at $10 trillion, right? A naive allocation is finding out where most of that money is going into that group of 9,000 digital currencies, and you're buying where most of the money is going. So if we look at these 9,000 digital currencies, we see that at any given time, about 50%, maybe a little, on average, 50% of that of the money is going into Bitcoin. So out the gate, we need to hold some Bitcoin because we're looking to grow with the market. Now, at any given time, 12 to 14% of the capital or the money that comes into this overall market is going into Ethereum. So that means at least 12 to 14% of our portfolio needs to go into Ethereum.
I think most of my portfolio is Ethereum now.
That's not bad.
Not bad?
Because if you're educated and you have a reason for your bias, right? You can do that.
Dang, I need this course, yo. No, like I want to learn this stuff so that I can talk like that. So I can talk like it on the podcast, make videos, and be like, "Dang, yo, Dave is brilliant." No, like this makes sense.
So to wrap up the whole naive allocation thing, so pretty much what you do is you figure out where most of the money is going at. So you go to coinmarketcap.com, right? And it's going to list the top cryptocurrencies from highest market cap to lowest. So you look at where most of the money is going, which is likely going to be in the top 10 cryptocurrencies. You see how long they've been there. You want to identify the ones that have been there for years, right? And then you see what percentage of the overall market cap do they hold. So in order to get that, there's a formula. You divide the market cap. I'm getting technical, but you divide the market cap for the coin. So for example, Binance coin, that's another really good one. And I'm going to give you a couple more.
Slow down. Slow down. I'm serious. Binance.
It's a centralized exchange, but they have a coin right? That gives different incentives and things like that for trading on their exchange. And the benefit of that is they've already garnered a lot of community around their exchange because they're releasing coins and things like that. It's kind of exchanges are hubs. So naturally their coin has a lot of exposure.
Gotcha. I don't think I see Binance in here. Binance is on Coinbase. Y'all see Binance on Coinbase? Is it on Coinbase? Binance?
No, it's BNB, Binance Coin.
Binance Coin. All right, I'm trying to find Binance Coin. And what do you buy on?
So I buy on whatever is most feasible at the time. So my primary exchange for getting cash into the crypto market is Kraken. Kraken.
Kraken.
Kraken.
Kraken. Hold on a second.
For those of you who have Coinbase Pro, I prefer to use Coinbase Pro if I was to use Coinbase because
I'm sorry, give me Kraken. Give me
Kraken.
Kraken.
Right.
Okay. And you're saying get Coinbase Pro
because it allows you to avoid any of the extra fees that they charge you on the normal Coinbase.
Oh, okay. Hey, look, there will be a link in the description too for Coinbase because I want to affiliate. Okay, so just click that. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything extra. Just support the podcast. Okay, so yes. All right, so Binance, you like that?
I like Binance.
Okay, what else?
And another really, really interesting sector of crypto. Really interesting sector of crypto. And it's funny because most people talk about NFTs, right? Like these NFTs,
so confused,
these digital, me too. I understand NFTs, non-fungible tokens. I understand what the capabilities in the future are, right? But we aren't at a point where we can really use NFT. Well, we can from a real estate standpoint if you adopted NFTs as real estate. So for example, a good use case of an NFT, let's say we wrap this building in a particular coin, right? That would be an NFT. There's only one of these buildings, right? NFTs represent one, non-fungible. Fungible is, so for those of you who don't understand what fungible and non-fungible are, fungible is meaning I have $1, right? If you have $1, it's the same dollar. Non-fungible is I create a piece of art, you create a piece of art. They're two different pieces of art. Mine is unique because I created and it's slightly different from yours, right? So you wrap non-fungible things like this building in a token, right? And then you can actually create smaller coins from that one Bitcoin and give people ownership of that building. And what that would allow me to do, I would literally be able to sell you a piece of ownership in this building without me going through any title work, without me going through any banks or anything like that. I could literally send you a piece of this building to your phone. That's the real power of NFTs, but we aren't there yet. Most people are being attracted to NFTs from like ticket sales or art or music somehow. But the issue is, where am I going to watch digital art? Why do I want digital art? You know, from an investment standpoint, you know, that's a big gamble. So
no one's ever explained it that way. So I get it now.
Cool.
I get it now.
I'm glad.
You went to college, didn't you? You had to go to college.
I dropped out, but I did.
Brother, super smart. Okay.
So NFTs. So this is the thing, because this is super important. A lot of people are, you know, waving this NFT flag, and they're like, NFTs, you know, art this, art that, right? Which is cool. But the real major innovation, the real sector to pay attention to in crypto is called DeFi, decentralized finances, DEFI, DeFi.
Is that a coin you could buy?
It's not a coin, it's a sector of crypto.
Okay.
So DeFi, decentralized finance, is pretty much taking all of the traditional finance things or banking operations, right? From borrowing and lending to asset management, right? To storage, whatever it is, arbitrage, right? And they're removing the middleman from it, right? They put this blockchain technology in the middle of it because it decentralizes things.
Right.
You can create smart contracts, things that automate the processes, right? And it's immutable, so people know that it's not manipulated, and that's why we can do that, right? And they put this technology in the middle of these same type of transactions that we're doing, that we're depending on banks and things for, and they're giving it the power back to the people. And those are things that are being used right now. Like, you don't have to guess if it's going to work, right? So if you go to a platform like Aave, AAVE, that's a coin, right? That's a lending and borrowing.
Y'all are funny. AAV, what?
E. AAVE.
Okay.
So that's it. That's one of the lending and borrowing protocols, right? And that's one of the DeFi coins. That's a coin that's in the DeFi sector. So by owning that, you own a piece of that network, right? And different cryptocurrencies have different incentives for owning these coins, right? But essentially, it's a way to even further tie yourself into this new global financial infrastructure that's being developed. So the same way that if you guys have ever heard of The Creature from Jekyll Island, you ever heard of that book? All right, so it's a book, Creature from Jekyll Island, where it's JP Morgan, all these major bank guys and all that stuff. They went to an island right on the outside of Savannah, secret meeting, right? Feds couldn't figure out what was going on, or governments couldn't figure out what was going on. So they said, we're going to get together and we're going to propose our own rules, right? And that's when they created the Feds. They created the Federal Reserve Bank, which is not federal, which is not a reserve, and which is not a bank. It's crazy,
wow.
Right? But anyway, that's what they did.
So explain what the Federal Reserve Bank does. It's not federal, it's not a reserve, and it's not a bank.
Nah.
Explain what the Feds do.
Print money. So essentially,
they're
in charge. They're in charge of monetary policy, right? Originally, it didn't start off as a bad thing. It used to be, whereas the money that they printed was backed by gold, right? It was backed by gold. And then what happened? At some point, one of the presidents decided all right, we need to confiscate all of the gold because of this reason, right? And then it got a little trickier, and they said, we're going to keep printing money, but we're not on the gold standard anymore. That note that you have in your pocket that used to represent some gold somewhere no longer represents gold. It just represents a promise to pay, or a store of value that's backed by our good word as a nation.
Wow.
Right.
History repeats itself. It's kind of like the same.
Yeah, so, it's just been going downhill from there, because there's only so much money that you can print, right? If you notice, a lot more people have a lot of money right now.
Right, but I'm saying the crypto thing is like, we decide that this has power.
Right.
And we the people, except for, it's just a larger we versus these few people that went to this island.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I was getting at. So the same way that they went and decided to create something,
right?
That's how we're coming, and we have the power to do that same thing.
Wow. And which makes sense why all these different coins are popping up. Like Jim Jones gonna have his own coin, and all these other people have their own coins.
Because we can literally create our own coins or our own networks that do whatever it is that we want them to do, whether it's a coin that automatically seeks yield, or essentially goes out into this cryptocurrency space and finds the best opportunities to earn money on that particular coin, and then it automatically sends it back to us, right? There's coins that do that. So there's a decentralized lending and borrowing platform. So right now, if you had, let's say you had $20,000 in Bitcoin, you can have what's called an over collateralized loan, right? Whereas you put up $20,000 worth of Bitcoin and they'll give you $10,000 cash because you over collateralize, right? You can pay it back on your own terms. So typically that's given at a rate of about 9%, 8 or 9, it's kind of high right now, 8 or 9% a year, right? But on the other side of that, to show you the power of DeFi and how that money goes back into the community, the people who are lending the money is us. And we're protected because those loans are over collateralized. So if you default, we got more than enough to compensate.
Wow.
And we're earning 6, 7, sometimes 12% on lending that money out. And that's how DeFi comes back full circle. So while everybody's looking at NFTs, you got to wait to really become your own bank.
Wow.
Or supercharge your savings or supercharge your investments at this point.
Goodness gracious. All right. So, man, we got to save some for the Patreon, Joe. So we got the Patreon where it's like we'll record like another 15, 20 minutes after this and we'll kind of chop it up so you can go get your haircut too. But just thank you. I got so many more questions, man. Well, yeah, okay, we'll ask them on Patreon. All right. Joe said ask them on Patreon. So thank you. So we'll have a link for them to kind of check out your course and everything. And we'll have a discount code, social proof. Okay. So even if the course goes up, right now it's $19.97. If it goes up, just tell me that our percentage will always be a discount for the podcast.
Your percentage will always be a discount.
Okay, we got it. Y'all see that? We got it. We out here. All right, so I got to do a quick commercial and then think of something deep and profound to say on the closing, okay, before I do my... I know, a lot of pressure. It's a weird thing to say to somebody like that. I'm sorry. So this episode is sponsored, as always, by The Morning Meetup, themorningmeetup.com. Themorningmeetup.com is the only organization that gathers every single day for the betterment of entrepreneurs. Actually, we're here in Atlanta and we have a live studio audience of people that are in The Morning Meetup, because if you're in The Morning Meetup, you could just come here, right? So you guys are watching this maybe a while after it's recorded, but y'all get it live and in person. Y'all get to talk to Fitz and all that kind of stuff. So especially if you're in Atlanta, there's people that come from different states to be at the recording. So it's only $1, actually. So if you go to themorningmeetup.com, you can try it out for $1. I'm on there every single day. We're teaching entrepreneurs every single day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can you jump on a call?
Sure.
Yes. Okay, cool. Because so every month we have a theme.
Okay.
And then every day of the week, it supports the theme of the month. So This month we're talking about being better. Okay. And we're going to touch every single area of our lives in terms of being better. And I think financial literacy is definitely a space where we need to... Y'all want them on a call? Y'all want to get them on a call? Okay, all right, cool. Thanks, I appreciate it. All right, cool. Yeah, so we'll definitely have you on the call. So it's actually $79 a month for like 20 phone calls every month, like every single day, Monday through Friday. And I'm on there every day, every single day. And I bring my successful friends on there to teach them as well. So go to themorningmeetup.com if you want to have exclusive access to the conversation that we're about to have, okay? Go to Patreon. I think it's patreon.com/David Never Sleeps. Make sure you go to the Patreon. So themorningmeetup.com or the Patreon. Thank you so much. All right, cool. So Fitz, thank you, man.
Man, thank you for having me.
Bro, you're doing some amazing work right now. And you told me something, and we'll get into it probably on the Patreon conversation after this, but you said something about 1,000x returns.
Oh, yeah. So in crypto, there's a sector of crypto investors that are looking for coins with 1,000x potential. 1,000, anytime I say X, it means add 2 zeros onto it, right? Or just simply multiply it by 1,000. So 1,000x is turning $1,000 into $1 million. So it may take you a few different hits and it may take you a few years, but when you do it, it's all worth it, right?
So you're looking for 1,000x return cryptocurrencies.
Yes, that's more of a high level mastermind where it's just like literally me and 2 other people at this point. But that's what we're on the hunt for. 1,000x returns, 1,000x cryptos.
What are you looking at? And maybe this isn't your pick, but what are some things that you see? Can I get one?
Things.
Get one.
It's not. We can talk about it offline.
Okay.
It's one of those things where I don't. A lot of them aren't. It's like you're working with teams before they even create things. Physical, like real, actual networks. So it's more about the relationships.
What do you mean?
So for like example, Protocol Labs. Protocol Labs is a team that has a really good track record of developing really infrastructural pieces of technology. 9 times out of 10, you'll find a 1,000x potential coin in the infrastructure sector of crypto. You got infrastructure, which is like the base layer. Then you got layer 2, you got layer 3. But you want the base layer like Ethereum, where everything is going to pile on top of it. Right? Ethereum was a 1,000x coin. Bitcoin was a 1,000x. Those are both protocols. So what's better than giving you something that may not, may not be a 1,000x coin is telling you how I go about finding them, which is finding the infrastructure, right? Understanding infrastructure. You want the things that you want to own the things that other things are being built on top of.
Gotcha.
You can't use the Ethereum network without using Ethereum. You can't use the Bitcoin network without using Bitcoin.
Gotcha. Being a part of your program, will they be privy? Well, will we be privy to like the things when you find it? Like,
so you'll be privy to the
information,
research,
the foundation,
all the research, the same way that I go about researching and finding different coins. All of that information is already in there, right? When I up in the club itself, so I may have picks for the month, right? Those will be given to you. Like my long-term, my stable long-term picks where I'm not, it's where I'm not essentially gambling, right? Because when you're looking for 1,000x returns, it's like sophisticated gambling at the end of the day, because you might hold this thing 5-10 years. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how the community is going to take to it. You could like the idea. You could say, okay, we need this, right? It solves a great problem, right? It has a great team, but we don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of people loved Tezos at the time. Look what happened with their team. Their team had a lot of disagreements. There was a lot of dysfunction. It didn't work out as well as a lot of people thought.
Gotcha. Goodness gracious. Fitz, thank you, man. Thank you. This was awesome. And you've never done a podcast before.
Never done a podcast.
This is first podcast, y'all. This is like literally one of my top 5 right now. Like just going through it, literally one of my top 5. And I've had some amazing podcasts, but this is one that like gave me chills throughout it. Like, oh my gosh, like this is real generational wealth. This is the stuff that people figure out before the world figures it out. And now their family is set and you're trying to figure out what the person does. And they just made some smart financial decisions back in the day.
And that's my thing. My goal is to, one of my major goals is to get 1,000 families backed by Bitcoin, which means your family has at least one whole Bitcoin that you guys never plan on selling. And you'll use that as an asset to generate more income or to pay for emergency expenses, and not by selling it, but borrowing against this new asset or using it as a perpetual bank.
Gotcha.
Right? So that's a deeper thing. Maybe we can say that for later. But
for sure. Well, we'll actually jump into it on the Patreon. Okay, so make sure y'all join the Patreon, man, so you get access to all this stuff. Again, thank you so much, Fitz. I guess tell them your Instagram and just how they can find you, and just close us out with a word of wisdom, man.
Okay. So my Instagram is financially Fitz, Fitz.
What's your name?
My name is Fitz. Fitzgerald.
Your first name or your last name?
It's my middle name.
All right, man. All right, we'll leave it at Fitz. Okay, go.
So yeah, my Instagram is financially Fitz, Fitz. And the quote is very, very simple, right? And I think it's one of mine, but it goes into, sleepers for suckers, right? So my quote is, greatness demands. And I think a lot of people want to be great, right? But don't understand, the requirements, the sacrifice that comes with it. The sleep that you lose, the L's, the friends that you lose, the parties and stuff that you can't go to, the money that you lose, right? Everything that you have to give up in order to be great. It demands a lot of you. So just be prepared if you are going, down some type of path to be great at whatever you're doing. Just know that it demands. Greatness demands.
Greatness demands. Man, listen, we can't close it out no better than that, man. Do me a favor, go get you some social proof, all right? Go build something, and then I need you to do what Fitz is doing. Come back to the community and share how you did it. It's the only way our community grows, okay? So go get some social proof, go build something, then come back to your community, all right? We are out of here. Peace. What if I told you for $1, I will introduce you to hundreds of entrepreneurs every single morning this week? From all across the country, you'll be able to talk to hundreds of entrepreneurs, and I'll coach you. I'll coach you for $1 this whole week, and I'll introduce you to some of my successful friends for $1 this week. Would you take part in that? Well, go to themorningmeetup.com because that's exactly what we're doing here, okay? The only organization that gathers entrepreneurs every single day for the betterment of entrepreneurship, okay? Every single day, Monday through Friday, we gather, we're growing, we're learning. We got a book club. Have you ever seen hundreds of entrepreneurs reading the same book? Every single chapter, every single day, we're growing together, okay? You need the environment to grow in. Themorningmeetup.com, $1. I'm gonna give you all of this for $1. If you wanna stay, great. It's $79 a month after that. If not, no obligation. You can leave whenever you want. All right? Themorningmeetup.com. I'll see you in the morning.